It was a warm sunny day and Meeya was playing in the water. She laid down in the river, blowing water out of her trunk and into her mouth. She lived in the forest with her mother and a very large family of elephants. Meeya was a happy little elephant and loved having so many brothers, sisters, and cousins to play with. But the family never stayed in one place long, and it was time for them to move on. After their long journey, they came to a muddy, dried-up riverbed, and a very thirsty Meeya lowered her trunk into a hole made by her mother. She sucked up the water into her trunk and sprayed it into her mouth. Then once again, she lowered her trunk and dipped it back into the water. She was quite thirsty and drank up much of the water that kept rising up to fill the hole. When she had finished drinking, Meeya climbed up onto the riverbank where she joined her mother and her family as they got ready to leave the muddy riverbed behind them. Ahead of them, Meeya walked happily along as they set off slowly, heading deeper into the forest. She looked back as if to say goodbye. Meeya walked alongside her mother and her elephant family, including a large bull elephant, and some juvenile elephants followed. They set off slowly through the dark rainforest with many different trees and strange plants. Monkeys were swinging in the trees, leaping from branch to branch and making strange noises. Meeya was not afraid, but was a little bit concerned. She really didn't like this part of the forest. Meeya and her family walked deeper into the big, green forest. She looked around carefully. She hoped she wouldn't see any more funny-looking animals, but there were only birds flying around. She didn't mind them, and they made her smile. She was excited. Her mummy had promised to take them to a lake, a big one with sparkly blue water. After a long walk, the trees opened up. There it was, the lake. It was as blue as the sky and so pretty. Meeya saw other animals splashing and playing in the water. She wanted to join them. Meeya ran to the lake and jumped in with a big splash. She laughed and splashed and jumped up and down with joy. Meeya was having the best day ever. She paddled and splashed in the lake, squirting water from her trunk as she played happily. She knew her family would soon be moving on, but right now, it was all about having a good time and enjoying every moment until it was time to go. She looked up and noticed that her family were waiting for her at the side of the lake. Meeya saw this and knew it was time to leave. The elephants set off through the long elephant grass, with Meeya running alongside her mother. The grass was nearly as tall as Meeya, and she could hardly see where she was going. She didn't want her to get lost, so she stayed close to her mother and felt safe. But soon they were out in the open again, and Meeya was happy that they were heading back into the dark forest. As they headed into the forest, it got deeper and darker. The trees stretched up like giants and shadows danced all around. She felt a tiny flutter in her tummy as strange sights and sounds echoed through the forest. Leaves rustling, parrots squawking, and large bats flying freely in the trees. Meeya wasn't used to such a mysterious place. She moved closer to her mother and the other elephants, feeling their warm, strong sides beside her. As she ran ahead, with her family following alongside her, she knew she was safe and that together they could go anywhere. And she hoped to see many new things on the way. The elephant family walked out of the thick forest and in front of them was a big sunny clearing. It was an ideal place for a little elephant to play. But something was wrong. A lion stood nearby, and it was staring at Meeya with its bright yellow eyes. Meeya felt very scared, but the big bull elephant saw the lion and trumpeted loudly as they all stood around her in a strong, safe circle. They wanted the lion to stay away, and the lion roared very loudly, but it did not come closer. Instead, the lion turned around and walked away into the tall grass. She was so happy that her family had kept her safe, and she stayed close and watched the lion disappear. It was late, and the afternoon sun was beginning to go down in the sky. The elephant family stepped into the fast-flowing river. Meeya walked ahead, warily slapping the water as she went deeper. She held her trunk up high out of the water and began to swim. When the elephants had crossed the river, they began to climb up the bank, making it very muddy and slippery. Meeya's family were all now out of the water, but Meeya became stuck in a mud hole. She struggled and could not move. She was scared, her legs had become stuck. She was being sucked down, and she felt herself sinking deeper and deeper into the mud. The whole elephant family stood around the deep mud hole, looking so helpless, and knew that they wouldn't be able to pull Meeya out. They started to wail loudly. Nearby in a village in the forest, some villagers heard the elephants' cries and realized that they must be in trouble. 3 of the villagers headed towards the riverbank where Meeya was stuck. When they arrived, they looked into the hole and saw Meeya, and they knew they must hurry to try and save this little elephant. One of the men had a shovel and started to dig Meeya out. The remaining 2 villagers jumped into the mud hole and began to pull Meeya out. Finally, they freed Meeya from the mud, and using a spade in their hands, they pushed and pulled her out of the hole and up onto the bank. Meeya was so happy to be free and trumpeted with joy. Then, her mother reached out and offered her trunk in thanks. As they left, Meeya and her family turned as if to say thanks, and as the sun set, the villagers headed for home. It had been a great adventure for Meeya, one she would never forget.